Hallo miteinander, I'm Gesh86 and this is my next project, Labyrinth of Touhou. This is a RPG, a dungeon crawler if you want, and of course it's based on Touhou characters. So I'm going to load my file here, and we start off in the main hub of Gensokyo. But there are a couple of options here, but as a first step I'm going to delve right into the dungeon, and I've ventured up to floor 7. Now this game has a 30-floor dungeon, and the story is that this dungeon is pretty much a dimensional rift that opened up in Gensokyo. So Reimu, Marissa, Sakuya, Remilia and Pachuri are going to investigate this rift because they hold it as an incident. And you know how Gensokians like solving these incidents. Now I've been briefly in this floor. In this game you pretty much fight random battles, battle also bosses, find equipment, recruit new characters, and of course level up all your characters. Now a battle has just started and we got our turn first, and we have 5 options. The first option is attacking. What may seem as a standard choice in most RPGs, you actually barely ever use it in this one. It's a really weak physical attack that doesn't really cost you anything. It's usually pretty wasteful to use though. Against random encounters, you want to sweep them away really quickly. And for this, the second option, spell, is the one you want to use. Every character has fixed abilities. They don't learn anything when they level up, but since you have 40 characters, you're gonna get a lot of options in this game, and this makes the battle system really complex. Now I'm going to use a multi-target attack, Divine Grandson's Advent, and Iku gets the next turn. Now I'll talk about the other options. You can focus. As you can see, all these spells have certain SP values behind them. That's your spell points, the value they use up. When you don't have spell points, you can't cast them. You can always waste a turn to focus, but you can also use the fourth option here, switching. Now switching is really essential in this game. It makes up a lot of strategy in the battle system. You have your 4 characters in your active roster, but you see I have 8 other characters with me that are currently passive. Now if all the characters in your active roster are wiped out, you are game over. You just lose. To prevent this, you can always choose other characters once an active character gets her turn. Maybe because you think another character is more appropriate for the situation, or because the character you're wanting to switch out is injured too much. Characters in the passive roster, in the back row you could say, are regenerate hit points and spell points. Now for random encounters you barely ever have to switch, unless you see that you can't pretty much even beat the enemies with your current active party. Now these enemies on the right there, they are highly resistant to magic attacks. Now Iku, who has just attacked, only has magic attacks. Aya, for example, has physical attacks, and Yomu, as a sword fighter, also has physical attacks. And with those, she can pretty much wipe out these memorized knowledges. There are other enemies that are completely resistant to physical attacks. like that one to magic attacks, and there are some who have high defense and mind. Mind is the magic resistance in this game. You also have some attacks for some later characters, or for Rumia for example, that completely bypass defense or mind. And those attacks are really important in this game. We enter our next battle. That what you just saw there on the map was an event, that exclamation point. We'll be getting to that soon. What's also special about this game is that characters don't have a fixed order they attack in. Everyone has a speed stat that determines how fast their ATB bar fills up. This game isn't strictly turn-based, but more with an active gauge. And certain attacks lower this active gauge to a really low point or to a high point, in which case the character can attack again. You can also say that these attacks have a low delay. Who we just saw was Komachi, again if you want to see her. And all the characters you see in this game, all the Touhou characters, can be recruited. She has a quest for us, but we cannot solve it on this floor. We need to do that later. You can always switch out a character between battles. Yomu is really low on spell points, so she can regenerate them here. If you want, you can always return to Gensokyo. You can always do that, there is no penalty for it. The only thing that has to be done is that you're out of a battle. I also forgot to mention that you can escape from any battle with the fifth option. And there is also a 100% success rate. But of course it has its drawbacks. Next to the character portraits there's a number right behind TP. That's the character's stamina. If the stamina reaches 0, a character cannot be switched out and will automatically leave the party after the battle. If you win a battle, you always lose TP. Usually just 1 if a character was at full health, but also more. If you escape, you lose an additional 3 TP. So if you want to escape just all the time, you're not really going to get very far. Your characters are just going to leave your party and you can't explore anymore. Oops, these enemies are going to get their turn in. Now Aya is out of TP. I'm going to switch Chen in. Usually don't want to get enemies to even get a turn in random encounters. You usually just want to sweep them away quickly. But it was hard in this situation. Those little balls, they can't be hurt easily. I think they're really resistant to magic. So I think we have time for another battle. Of course, you can, like I said before, you can find treasures. In this chest we found skill points, which is kind of you use them to power up your characters, a bit like XP, but more like in an RPG where you find gold and buy better equipment, but not completely. I'll go into detail for that in the next video. Now you've only seen random encounters up till now. The bosses in this game are very strong. You need to have a good level, and you need to know what the bosses can do and prepare with the right equipment and the right characters to take with you. So, I think that was all I wanted to show up till now. Next time I'll be explaining a bit about the main hub and maybe even show a boss battle. Until then, I'm Gesh86. Bis bald!